Scrub Hub?
Dude,
Dude, that
We're
was
getting
killer.
better, man.
We're so good,
I'm sure they're
man.
getting sick of us. Like, oh, we got it.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, like,
was-
like what episode is this? Technically,
This is Pokemon. This is the second shorts
second shorts,
episode. So technically, like, this is the fourth episode.
four
Fifth
and a half,
episode.
fifth,
This is
four and
like-
a half.
This is a fifth week. This is week number 5.
This is week number 5. That's right.
Because we started with 0.
That's right.
Then
Mortal Shell.
then Mortal Shell, and then we
into
did
Zelda.
some Ocarina of Time, then Mortal Shell again, and then Pokemon. You guys are listening to us talk about Pokemon Brilliant Diamond,
Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl.
Shining Pearl. I couldn't.
Both.
I couldn't remember. I only know Diamond Pearl.
So Doc played it. He played Shining Pearl.
We're not
and
going to do an introduction. Say who we are.
we should do that, shouldn't we?
What's up, guys? I am Doc Bishop. What's up, Scrub Buds?
What's up, Scrub Buds? My name is Pants, NevrEndingPants, which is my full name. And today we have an episode of Shorts. It's a little bit of play off of my name a little bit, but it also implies that we are talking about a game briefly. We are trying to cram an entire freaking game into one episode. Sometimes it's short, sometimes it's long. I think with the
happens.
last Shorts, we had...
Our last shorts was long.
Yeah, the last Shorts was pretty long. We had a little bit to say about Ocarina of Time. What can you really say, you
So,
know?
I'd like to say real quick, I said Scrub Buds, but I wanted to be like, be a Scrub Bud, not a Scrub Dud.
I like that a lot. Be a Scrub Bud.
So
not a
we need
Scrub
someone to
Dud.
make us a T-shirt.
Some Scrub Buds shirt. Yeah, let me ask you guys this: do you guys like Scrub
I don't know what's
Scrubbies or do you like Scrub Buds? What
Scrub
do
Buds?
you guys like?
Scrub Bud was a good one. Scrubbies. I think someone commented talking about Scrubbies.
Yeah, it was
they like that
my
for
buddy
now.
Cole. He liked that for
Scrub
now.
Buds, Scrubbies. All the haters can be Scrub Duds.
That's right. Yeah, Scrub Duds, dude.
Don't know. Anyway, Pokemon. So,
Pokemon. That's right.
So let's set the scene.
Set
right?
the standard, right? Set the moves.
So one, neither of us played original Diamond and Pearl.
I played a little bit.
I think I played Platinum.
I don't remember what I played, but I think if I played any of them, it probably would have been platinum because it would have been me trying to go back to play it. So I would have been like, well, I should just play platinum, right?
Yeah, I think I played Platinum because there were instances in Diamond and Pearl like the badges and being able to like clean
Scrub 'em.
the badges and stuff. I'm like, I definitely did that. I had a DS. I definitely did that because you can hit ding 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 like they all do a different sound. I'm like, I know I've done this, but I don't remember these games. So it had to have been Platinum. There's
Mhm.
no reason. I don't remember the years they came out. I don't remember any of that. I'm like,
Yeah, I can't even take a guess on when
So-
it came out.
oh,
But
yawn.
we can definitively say that they are different. There's a lot of new features that Nintendo
new
has been
features.
working on that they've been adding to, like, I would say generally every Pokemon game that has been released over the last couple years. Now, granted, a lot of things about Pokemon have changed over the couple years.
Oh yeah, Pokemon's always changing.
Primarily, yeah, it's
One
always
might
changing.
say it evolved.
It evolved. That's
So
that's
dumb.
good. But you can always anticipate with Nintendo and Pokemon, it's clearly one of their biggest franchises. They're
Sure.
always implementing new features for their audience, right?
Can I say, if you've been living under a rock, Pokemon is a game in which you, the Pokemon trainer, go from town to town to town to town to acquire 8 Pokemon badges that allow you to then fight the Elite Four, which is the best.
Cream of the crop.
They're the 4 best Pokemon trainers in all of the region. And the Pokemon champion. There's always a Pokemon champion. Has there always been?
Yeah, I think there's always been a champion.
And then
right?
so there's always like the best, the person who is the best of the best. And then that's pretty much the game loop for every Pokemon game to date. They're all the same. I don't think you can play a Pokemon game and not be able to compare it to the other ones.
Right. Generally,
But that's
there's a
if you've been under a
cycle
rock
of
Pokemon.
generally a cycle of you're the trainer, receive your Pokedex, go out, start the gym, you know, the what would you call it, the gym challenge, and then
Mhm.
and then there's X bad guy, right?
There's always a
You
bad
gotta-
guy.
You gotta stop X bad guy, and then you can
Always
get
trying
back to
take
your
over the world
you
or
know
something.
your general gym badge stuff. So
But that's
I
it.
think when we maybe dip into this, we go into that preconceived notion that there's a structure, There's a way that they
And-
normally do Pokemon games.
Yeah, and I
but,
think that's why I preface that, because they're all pretty much the same.
Mhm. So there's not a lot that we can touch on in this episode in terms of like a generalized Pokemon game. There's things to talk about
Sure.
that go across the board, right? But
That's-
there's things that are in Shining Pearl, Brilliant Diamond that we love. Some things that we hate. Hate's a strong word. I actually
Yeah.
don't think I hate anything about the game,
No,
right?
I think the game. So the game plays. It's almost a 1-to-1 remake of the games.
Which I love.
The art style is interesting. Some people don't like the chibi arts, and they would rather it be like what we got in like Let's Go or Pokemon Sword and Shield. I don't think it matters.
But I think it's super cool that they kept the original style, because when I first started
That's
the
how
game,
the original was. The
Right.
original was chibi stuff.
it was chibi style, right?
basically.
So like when I
Chibi
started the
sprites.
game, I went in with the preconceived idea of like, okay, we just got Sword and Shield not too long ago. They have this new art style where they're trying to flesh out this more 3D environment. Like I feel like I'm more in the game, like it's on a TV, like I'm more of a part of it. But I love so much that they paid homage to like the older generation. They were like, these games came out in a chibi style. They even got I feel a little bad now that I don't know the team that was part of this game, but they got a new
Okay.
team outside of Game Freak to work on this, and that team themselves, I think, I don't know, maybe Nintendo was like, hey, we want you to keep this style. But I love and adore and applaud the fact that they kept the chibi style.
Yeah.
I think that was super cool. When you're making a remake, they
It's
went back
a
to the
1-to-1.
original. You
It's
know what I mean?
almost, again, like I said, it's almost a 1-to-1 remake, at least from the beginning of the game to fighting the champion. I think everything is the same except for a few things here and
There's
there.
features
few.
in terms of new Pokemon games that are added. Like
I'm
the
sure we're going to talk about features. You want to talk about features right now?
we're gonna go into features.
I was going to try to cover the games.
Well,
first,
we'll go into features and stuff like that. But
because the features are going to be the hot topic.
I think
it's more
it's
of like cover the game and make sure we kind of cover it as a whole.
I think it's important to know that when you're playing Diamond and Pearl on the DS original, it's not the same experience. You should understand that
it's different.
It is two different experiences when playing these games.
And there's two major reasons why.
Yes. And
at least
I think it's important that you noted that generally Pokemon games follow a format, right? So as I hate to call myself a veteran Pokemon player, because it's not like I played every single game to its completion.
You don't play every game?
No, Doc.
Then you're
I don't
not
play
a
every
veteran.
game.
I've played every Pokemon game since Red and Blue, except Diamond and Pearl.
Except for this one, right?
Except for this one.
But generally speaking, we've played a lot of Pokemon games, so we
yeah.
can speak on things we can expect, things we cannot expect.
I would like to say that I think that's an important facet going into the features we're going to talk about.
Of course.
I think that's super important that people need to understand.
Yes, definitely understand that these games came out in different times. Different people are playing these games than what we were playing, you know what I mean?
Different things were possible.
That's also true. Different things. You had when do we know when Diamond and Pearl came out initially?
Diamond and Pearl, I'm going to say 2007.
Let's look it up.
That's my guess. 2007, 2008. Maybe that might be Platinum though. That might be the Platinum release.
2006.
When did Platinum come out?
I want to say probably 2 years or a year later.
Verify that, because that's the one I'm pretty confident that I actually played, but only played a little bit of. I don't think I ever actually beat it.
I can say
because that still puts it in the time frame that I'm talking about.
There's a fucking sealed copy for $2,800.
Oh my god, that's not what we're talking about right now. But those games are crazy.
So it came out in 2008.
See, boom.
Platinum.
So right there, I was right there. 2006, 2008. So that's been a minute.
You're playing off of two, like there's so many different, like the social environment for gaming is different. The console is completely different.
Yeah.
What you said, what was even possible at the time is different, and the ideas, like it came out in 2008. It's 2021. 13 years to come out with some pretty great ideas and we got some pretty not okay ones.
We got a really dope remake. I mean, Gen 4 introduced 150 new Pokemon. to the already
massive collection,
300,
almost 400.
almost 400 Pokemon already, because you have 151, then 100. Gen 3 introduced another 100, I think, if not less.
I don't remember.
Like
I feel like
I don't
fewer
remember.
get introduced every generation because
Yeah, that's
they're
not
bringing
true.
back.
I think there's at least 100 every generation.
Oh, really? Like at least a
151
minimum?
was for sure Gen 1. 100 was Gen 2. So 251, 252 Pokemon if you included Celebi. And then I think Gen 3, I don't know, it was 100, maybe 100 and something. And then Gen 4 did 151 again.
Gotcha. Cool. So you can
feel free to correct me.
Right.
I don't care.
Basically, you can anticipate that this game has the general flow of a Pokemon game. Not much has changed over the last 20 years or so.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So the things that we're going to be talking about in this game are generally pretty specific to Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond.
Yep.
Now, so we've talked about the game a little bit. We've talked about the structure of Pokemon.
I think that's all we can talk about, right?
Really,
you
know, we can't say too much on the structure of a Pokemon game because it just is what it is.
If you've played a Pokemon game that is not Let's Go Eevee or Let's Go Pikachu,
or Pokemon Go,
or
Pokemon Shield, or Sword,
man,
I think even that. I think even that is
the only thing. So let's talk about.
Let's
take a brief moment. Pokemon Sword and Shield. The only thing that's different, because the same thing. You start the game, you get 8 badges, you beat the Elite Four, and you beat the champion.
Okay, yeah, you're right. The structure of the game is still pretty same.
The only thing that changes is it feels there's one area in the entire game. Well, now if you do the DLC, we are not going to talk about that right now.
We're not talking about DLC or anything like that. We're not even talking about Sword or Shield.
No. But the only thing that's different in that, aside from I think you actually see the Pokemon in the overworld, that's new in Sword and Shield, and you have I forget what it's called, where it's a big, huge open area.
I
forget what it's called. Anyway, that's it. Aside from those things, Pokemon Sword and Shield is the exact same formula.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty similar.
There's nothing we can say to expand on the story. So we can talk about the mechanics, right? We can talk about what we liked. We can talk about what we didn't like. I felt the overall game myself, just to say what I liked, the overall game was fun. It was enjoyable. The battling, so you battle trainers. Those trainers, they have Pokemon. You use your Pokemon. You beat them down almost 99% of the time. You win no matter what.
Yeah.
Very rarely have I lost to a trainer. Then you do the gym battles. I have lost to gyms. That happens. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think I lost to the second gym. I was very underleveled and I lost. But I feel the pacing of this game was way better than some of the others.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just overall enjoyable. And while it may have felt easy, and while there are things that we'll talk about here in just a minute, I'm sure, that people may have perceived to make the game really easy, the challenge at the end, at least not post-game. We should preface that.
Yeah, so
we did not do post-game. We've only done through the main story past the beating the champion.
Right, so starter to champion.
Starter to champion, that's all we've done.
Maybe we go into more?
We do know, I know about some of the post-game stuff, and it's ridiculous. But the challenge towards the end of the game, you called it backloaded.
Yeah, the game's very backloaded in terms of I would say definitively, for me, it was the first 3 gyms. I played the game and I was like, okay, when's it gonna start getting hard? So and we've talked about this in other games before in terms of conditioning a player, right? Games and game developers have to know that if you don't want your player to immediately go to the internet, you don't want them to go to a player's guide or something like that, you need to condition them to play the game a certain way or to educate them. Maybe educating is a better word than conditioning them, because conditioning is something with Dark Souls kind of games, conditioning is the proper way to do it. Educating may be the proper way for a Pokemon game to lean you into the next part of the story. But I would say for the first 3 badges, it's almost painfully linear. Like Pokemon games just are.
I mean, they are. You're literally like, okay, I'm on Route 201, then I go to Route 202, then I go
But
to
you
Route
love it.
203.
But you love it though, right? Like
mean,
who doesn't love going
it's-
to Route 201 and then going to Route 202?
It's pretty nice because it gives you a weird sense of like, well, where do I go, right? Well, I just got off 215. So
You're probably going to 216.
I probably go to 216.
Right.
Right? And it's literally town, one route, town, a route. I mean, and it's pretty much almost guaranteed. That's what you're doing.
Yeah. And again, to bring it back, Pokemon and Nintendo
I'm
has
sticking my foot in freaking Vulpix's face.
Yeah, do you guys like the little excuse my little Monster Energy?
We got Pikachu.
The plug.
And we
the
have
non-plug actually,
we
because
have
we're
the,
not sponsored.
We have the Alolan Vulpix.
Yeah, the Alolan, not the Galarian. Because the Galarian doesn't exist. There's not a Galarian.
You're right. It is the Alolan
It's
Vulpix.
Alolan. But there's Galarian.
There are Galarian Pokemon.
Like, is there a Galarian Geodude?
Oh, no, there's an Alolan Geodude.
Oh, it's the Alolan. Okay.
What
What is the Alolan Golem?
He's got a mustache.
No way.
Yeah, dude. I think he has like some spine. He might have some. I don't know if he has spines on his back, but yeah, because he's rock electric.
Wait, what is it? It's Alolan, right?
Alolan. 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 It sounds Hawaiian.
Let me see if I can pull this up. No, not the freaking Bulbapedia. Not okay.
Oh my
quick,
gosh.
quick plug, real quick. If you guys are on the internet searching for, this is not freaking sponsored or anything. This is just from years and years of trying to find better Pokemon information. Cerebi, it's solid. It's got a lot of information.
Oh, there's a ton of information on Cerebi. Yep.
Bulbapedia, same thing. Tons of information. It's super convoluted. It's hard to find. If you guys are looking for solid Pokemon information in terms of the game that you're playing, check out Pokemon Database. Check out Pokemon DB. It's by far the best place to accumulate.
I had all three websites pulled up.
Yeah. See, and each of them have good stuff, but in my experience, when I'm like trying to find stats, trying to find weaknesses, type bonuses, advantages, stuff like that, even like evolutionary moves and stuff like that, when to evolve my Golem.
And tell you
when's
what,
the proper spot?
And if you play Pokemon like Pants, boom, use those websites. If you play Pokemon like me, doesn't matter.
Yeah, you just don't.
I just played I think that's a difference, right? I just play the Pokemon games to play the Pokemon games.
You know what?
I just want to play the games. I don't care. I'm not trying to be the very best in the world.
Yeah.
I just want to be the very best of
in your world,
my game. You know, I don't care.
I think it's important to say too, because
we should totally fight our Pokemon today before you leave.
Huh?
Our Pokemon.
Oh, fight out?
We should totally have a battle.
Oh, we'll have a battle for sure.
We should have a battle before you leave.
Yeah.
That's a side note.
So I think
they're about all the same level. So I think
roughly, yeah. I think one thing to say about this game, because clearly, like you said, like you have one way that you enjoy playing Pokemon games.
Mm-hmm.
I have my way that I enjoy playing Pokemon games. And as a gamer,
here's a question: do you able yourself to allow yourself to play the game the way that specific game wants you to play, or do you stay in your ways of this is how the Pokemon game should be?
That's an awesome question. That's actually a super sick question, because so like I was saying, you have a way that you play a game, right? Like the Pokemon games. You have this idea of how I enjoy Pokemon games. I've got this idea of how I enjoy Pokemon games. I think that is universal, right? Like everyone generally plays video games differently, but in specific with Pokemon, there's different things that you enjoy about it. Some people just love how cute the Pokemon are. Some people really love the battle system, the turn-based, like the numbers, the statistics, like the grinding away, like figuring out your IVs, your EVs kind of thing.
I've recently just started looking at numbers. Like it's a whole freaking new world.
It's a whole new world for you, right?
It's wild.
That's how I I wouldn't say that's initially how I started playing Pokemon, but
I've played every Pokemon game, and I just now
started paying attention, right? I think that I started to find my love in Pokemon when I started to pay attention to numbers, and I think that was introduced when I started to really delve into other RPGs like Legend of Dragoon, for example.
Mhm.
Like, because that's a super, like, you're not running around trying to like be tactically better in terms of your movement and things like that. You're thinking more number based, like, yo, can I take this hit right now if I swing? Like,
Yeah.
do I need to block right now? Is it viable for me to heal up this turn? And then, so
Have you always done that?
that's always
So-
how I've been. So I
that's
think
cool because for me, I think like there are over 1,000 Pokemon right now, and I'm just now getting into the numbers, and I'm like, it's too much. I don't care.
Oh, it's exhausting. Anything after like 3rd gen, I couldn't tell you anything about. Like, but anything before then, I could probably, if you spit out a Pokemon, I could probably.
Pikachu.
Pikachu is clearly fast. It's a little bit faster. It's a special attacker, and
What number in the Pokedex is Pikachu?
It's like probably like 13 or something, or 14.
25.
Oh, is it 25?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
25.
remember that now.
Raichu. What number in the Pokedex is Raichu?
26.
That's true. What number is Pichu in the Pokedex?
Pichu's probably okay. I'm not gonna be able to give you an exact, but logistically, I can tell you a rough idea.
I don't know.
It's got to be somewhere in the hundreds, right?
Well, I mean,
It's
so Pichu's not in the original Pokedex.
not in the original, but its number technically in the national dex.
Oh, it's national dex.
Ooh,
I
wait
think the
a
national
minute.
dex, it's
The national deck changes.
all the numbers are different.
It
Pichu,
changes.
national dex is literally Pichu, Pikachu, Raichu.
Yeah, because that changes depending on what game you're playing and how many Pokemon are in it, right?
How many?
Or does it
Actually,
have a
I don't
slot?
know.
Does it have a space?
You know what? I think
It probably
Pikachu
has
is
a
still
slot.
25 in the national dex. Isn't the? I thought okay,
We're gonna have to look.
dude.
it up
I don't know.
think-
That's a good idea because I thought the national dex was like. So okay, for example, what is a Gen 2 starter? Totodile, right? Is he the what's
He'd be like
Chikorita? Chikorita is the number 1 in the
In
Johto
that-
Pokedex,
but
right?
it would
But
be
it's number
152.
152 in the national dex. So Pichu would be like 300 and something.
That's what I was saying. Like Pichu would actually be like 300, where Pokemon or Pikachu would be like 25 or something. You know what I mean? Because it would be
Yeah.
kind of bunched in with the other baby Pokemon, probably.
So if you need a new website, ScrubHub GC database.com/Pokemon.
we're working on that Pokemon. Getting that shit compiled, baby. But yeah, super.
They'll type it in. It'll immediately just send them to Pokemon DB.
Oh yeah, it'd be so funny. It'd be so good. Yeah, but yeah, I think the ultimate point that I was making is you play Pokemon a certain way.
Mhm.
I play Pokemon a certain way.
Yep.
You guys play Pokemon a certain way. Maybe you guys just like how cute the Pokemon
And
are.
none of those ways are wrong.
But and see, none of those ways are wrong. And we're like at some point probably gonna dip into this topic a little bit in terms of like additional features that they add outside of what Pokemon
We're
Diamond or in Pearl were
We're
initially.
going to talk about the controversial, probably the most controversial
thing.
in this game,
Yeah, and probably in the second half. But
and
initially,
what it brought to the game.
right. And initially I disagreed with it. And I think that I still in a lot of ways want to disagree with it. But the thing is about newer Pokemon games as they're
Dark
coming out.
side.
Especially as they're coming out with remakes and stuff like that, but they're respecting features that they have made to make playing a Pokemon game more enjoyable to the general audience. That's something that I am willing to concede to, because when Pokemon was made, when I was growing up with it, some ideas weren't there. Some ideas weren't implemented. Sometimes
Some things
there was
weren't
a fraction
capable.
some things weren't capable, and there was a fraction of the players playing it to give Nintendo input, or Game Freak specifically input on their games. So I think with a larger audience, with a greater spectrum of gamers playing this game, they were able to take all of those words, those opinions, and compile them into, for better or worse, based on your opinion, a more generally playable video game depending on your playstyle. So with that being said, I think going into the second half of this game, I think that no matter what kind of player you are, if you jump into Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl, correct me if you think I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I will.
You are going to, despite your playstyle, I think you're going to be able to find a space in this game to be happy.
I think if you can approach the game with an open mind, like, there are going to be people that are going to see different things and they're going to say, hey, that's dumb. I'm not going to play this game. I think if you're not even willing to give the game a chance, your opinion doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Well, because
it's
if you're going to say, I don't like this idea, therefore I won't play it, then don't tell me that I'm playing it wrong. You know what I mean? But if you're willing to sit down and play the game and play the entirety of the game, if you quit after the first 3 gyms, like what you're saying, you did not experience the game. I'm sorry, you didn't.
Right, because at that point, it would have seemed easy. But, like, if you go just a little bit past that, the pacing, like, you have to, there's a certain amount of trust, you know what I mean? Like, and that's where, like, sometimes people ego gets involved because, like, for me, I'm a big, you know, I have errors in this because, like, I've been playing, as my ego evolves, like, I could be like, yo, I've been playing Pokemon for 20 years. They shouldn't have, it's almost a sense of egotistical entitlement, like, you know, they shouldn't mess with my Pokemon game because, like, I've been playing Pokemon for like 20 years. Yeah. Like, you know, it's my game. But, you know, they're here to provide the best possible content to everyone. And there's people that were born after Pokemon came out that even exist that are playing the game now that have better ideas than what I had initially. Yeah.
So we're going to wrap up this section. But I just want to say, if you play this game legitimately and you got to the end and you tell me I had 0 problems, I do not believe you.
Yeah, you're a fucking gangster.
I do not believe you, because
it was a challenge.
Quite frankly,
it's a good challenge.
Even if you're the person that says I hit every single route, I hit every single trainer, I hit every single thing, like, and you go in completely blind, like I went in completely blind. There's a point where the trainer battles get annoying. You have the money to buy max repels. You don't even need to fight wild Pokemon anymore. All the trainers, most of the trainers are completely optional. You don't have to fight them.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're just like, oh, I love fighting, cool, that's awesome. But eventually you get to a point where you're like, these fights suck. I'm way overpowered for what they're throwing at me. They're pointless. So you skip them. Then you get to the Elite Four. If you're telling me you beat the Elite Four with 0 knowledge of what Pokemon they have, and you had no challenge,
on your first try,
just beat them straight up, I don't believe you.
Yeah, you're probably a fibber. At least a little bit.
Like, now, have you maybe played Gen 4 Pokemon Pearl and you remember exactly what those Elite Four members use? Okay, cool, maybe. But you knew stuff. You went in with knowledge. If you go in not knowing like I did, I had no clue. I was confident I was well leveled. All my Pokemon were like level 60. I got rickety wrecked.
We're going to jump into that in just a second because I think we got a lot to say about the second half of this game.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk controversial. Dude, I'm crying, man. It's so funny. You guys missed it. It was hilarious.
So good.
Actually, maybe you didn't. Anyway, if you're watching this, you didn't. If you aren't and you're listening, you missed it. Sorry. Go watch it on YouTube. Anyway,
I was lost in what you were going with that.
Anyway, the most controversial, I think, thing about this game is the Exp Share. Okay, so let's preface this real quick. Most Pokemon games, from the very beginning, from Red and Blue, all the way till now, have Exp Share. This is where your Pokemon who is in battle gains experience, and then the Exp Share allows other Pokemon to gain a portion of that experience.
One other Pokemon.
Well, you ruined I was leading up to it, man. So most of the time, it has always been one other Pokemon, and this means they gained experience by not being in the battle at all, right? So back in the day, you could give a Pokemon EXP share, you could lead them in the Pokemon battle, then you could switch them out, and they would get battle experience for being in the battle, and then they would get half the experience of the Pokemon that actually won. So they would get even more experience than if they won the battle themselves. Super awesome and super cool. So now we fast forward all the way to, I think it started with Pokemon Let's Go. Pokemon Let's Go implemented an EXP share all, which means you only need one Pokemon in the battle, and all the other Pokemon not in the battle get a huge chunk of experience for not even being in the battle. And that's controversial because that made people think it's now back to Sword and Shield had it, and now the new Diamond and Pearl has it. And a lot of people were like, well, that makes it too easy. I disagree.
And
I completely disagree.
It's interesting because this earlier in the episode, I had mentioned something like as a newer feature that I wasn't completely on board with initially, but now I'm a little bit more on board with, because I came from I haven't played Pokemon seriously. So we do this podcast, okay, we're going to play a video game. I'm actually going to pay attention to it. I'm going to play this game with full intent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pay attention to the things I love, pay attention to the things that I hate. The last time I played a Pokemon game with so much intent was probably Emerald. It's a
good generation, though, man.
Good generation. Been a long time.
Pokemon Crystal is my favorite.
You guys, if you guys are on board with Doc, bear with me a little bit as I share my experience.
Go for it.
But
there's no zero judgment here.
Zero judgment zone. That's right. We're all just discussing. You know,
in the comments, just say how wrong he is.
Right. Let me know. Yeah, how wrong I am.
No, honestly, in this, I think most people are going to disagree with me.
You think so?
I think the EXP share across the board is great. I think most people are going to disagree with me.
So I have a pretty...
There's a poll, right? Can we make a poll?
We can't. Yeah. So what do you guys think? There's actually there's a poll on Spotify. You guys can actually scroll down, I think, and it'll show you a poll. You guys can let us know your answers. What do you think about the freaking EXP share in these newer games? Do you think it should be there? Do you think it should be as giving as it currently is? Because like Doc said, it's not an item anymore.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. It's not an item.
Because I think
I completely forgot
an
about
item
that.
in Sword and Shield? Was it a physical item?
Honestly, I think it's just there. Let's Go had it. I think Sword and Shield, it was just there. In the original Diamond and Pearl, it was an item that you got, and you got it. This isn't a late game item. This is the second city, Eterna City. You got it there. You walked in, they're like, here's the EXP share. They're like, you're like, cool, thanks. But it only worked on one Pokemon, not all the Pokemon.
Right. So I guess my main question in discerning, to start with this topic, right, is because I played a little bit of Pokemon Let's Go.
Mm-hmm.
Pikachu. I'm sorry. I had Let's Go Eevee because I bought my brother Pikachu so we could kind of play together. And then I enjoyed
those games.
That might even just be a whole episode of its own because I fucking hated that game.
But I just play Pokemon to play Pokemon, right?
Yes,
so
I play Pokemon to relive my experiences from my childhood, which I think is super important to preface because you're playing Pokemon from different perspectives. Mm-hmm. Again, like we said, you guys are playing Pokemon for a very specific reason. I play Pokemon for a specific reason. Doc plays, etc., etc., blah, blah, blah.
I think this all feeds into this topic we're talking about.
It definitely does. So, ultimately, where we start in this topic with the XP share, in Pokemon Let's Go / Pokemon Sword and Shield, was it a physical item that you picked up or received?
I'm pretty sure it was not.
It was not.
Pretty sure you started off with it.
Okay. So the prefaced idea is that I think maybe, because I had this idea before, if you're in a Pokemon battle and all of your buddies, your Pokemon buddies, assuming I'm a Pokemon, I'm in a battle, all my buddies are watching me. They're probably going to learn a little bit from me, right?
Yeah.
They're going to get some kind of general experience from watching me battle. And I think that may have been from a, because there has to be, in my mind, there has to be
Justification.
There's a mechanic.
That's what I was like. Are you trying to justify the Exp Share?
There's
right
a
now?
mechanic, because I think Nintendo's smart. I want to give them credit, because I think they respect me as a gamer.
Shoot, I think my take on it's different.
Really?
But go ahead. I mean, like,
so
I'm interested in like your justification as a gamer who grew up with just the item and whatever. So continue.
So I think you have your method, your mechanical standpoint, right? Which is the experience share. We want to give players the access to play the game and level up all their Pokemon without having to stop, grind up this one Pokemon to beat this thing. So it is making the game generally more accessible. And the justification for that, because I need as a player, as a gamer, because I think that I'm smart, right? Like,
I mean, you are smart.
Like thank you, Doc. Appreciate that. I like to think
not
that
as smart as a doctor,
right? I like to think as a gamer, I'm pretty smart, right? So if I see a mechanic like that, I'm like, oh, I would love to know why. What's the real why for it? Like the justification behind it. Because that feeds me. Like, if you can justify something, sure. Of course, I don't think Nintendo ever came out and was like, hey, we have this new experience share thing, and the justification behind it is because all of your Pokemon are watching this one Pokemon fight, so they're all getting experience.
That's a cool take.
That's a cool take, and I'm okay with that. And it allows, I guess, just briefly, the way that I play Pokemon games generally is I know that I'm getting through the initial game, and then the post game is when I get the Pokemon I really want. Like I have intentions to get Garchomp, right? I didn't play with Garchomp because he's a late game Pokemon.
Yeah, I think you literally have to beat the game before you can get him.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Oh, okay. So
I think you can only get him post champion.
Okay, so that kind of being like Pokemon, I'm just wanting to get through the initial game fast, so that I can get to post game stuff.
I have a comment.
So I think with Pokemon,
I definitely have a comment.
It's so before the idea was that you had a Pokemon game, it was going to have included 40 or 50 hours of gameplay, and that's pre-game, in terms of like you playing the actual game and getting like the 8 badges, and then getting going through the Elite Four and everything, and then doing post game after that.
I mean, post game is most of that, right?
It's like,
because I was like, that's a lot of time in my opinion. That's a lot of time for a Pokemon game.
But you have certain things like the beauty competitions.
I have 30 hours in this game, and a lot of it's the beauty competition and the underground.
Yeah. So the funny thing as a gamer, I have roughly 27 hours in it, and I'm willing to say confidently that about 9 or 10 of those is sleeping. Because
you're playing it fall asleep.
I play games on my Switch falling asleep, and like that was one of these. This was one of those games where obviously this is a shorts episode kind of thing. So
at this rate, it's going to be a long short,
right? I wasn't necessarily like playing this game on stream or trying. I was just like consuming it as I could go because it's a Pokemon game.
Right.
It wasn't really fitting on my stream properly and whatnot. So a lot of my gameplay was sleeping or whatever.
That's funny.
But that goes to say, again, to go into how different people play Pokemon games. Like I just said, I'm getting through the initial game as fast as I can. And I'm even skipping a lot of trainers and stuff like that because I know that I'm going to catch that Gibble. I'm going to have to go back and find ways to level him up. So, I'm preemptively saving myself trainers and stuff like that so that I can go back and get additional buffed experience for the Pokemon I really care about.
I don't think he knows.
Well, I know that you can go back and do rematches and stuff.
Oh, he does know.
I do know about that.
The Versus Seeker allows you just recombat.
It lets you just recombat
and their
people.
Pokemon are stronger.
But if you just don't see, and again, I'm trying to get through the initial game early because I don't care about Honchkrow. I had a 6th slot in my party the entire time.
Because you didn't need freaking HM.
Because, well,
HM Pokemon.
So, well, actually, I didn't
which
have
is another thing we didn't even consider talking about.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing, and I think that maybe should be prefaced that because that's a change that happened in like Sword and Shield, right? The HM thing.
Really?
Actually, it was earlier.
I don't think it was.
Actually,
really?
it was way earlier.
No, it wasn't. This is new. Not having to use a Pokemon use an HM? No. In your party? No. No, it's not. I guarantee my freaking Corviknight knows Fly, and I had to make sure he knew Fly.
I'm trying to remember.
And I guarantee I had some Pokemon that knew Strength or Waterfall.
That's definitely a feature that probably needs to be mentioned because that's a pretty big thing. I'm thinking of.
Can I? Do you have anything else to say about the XP share? Because I want to share my viewpoint.
So long story short, I hated it at first because I felt like it was coddling the gamer because they were trying to appeal at a younger age. And I'm like, my opinion on that is like, hey, don't fucking coddle the younger gamer. Make them work for it because guess what? I had to fucking work for it. And now I'm a pretty decent gamer. And when I play Pokemon games, admittedly, I'm pretty good at it. Mm-hmm. Like you watched me play earlier. I was super underleveled with that Elite Four.
Oh yeah, you were. I got rickety wrecked, and you're just like, well,
right,
underleveled. You're like 4 levels under me.
And that was my second time going to the Elite Four, and it shows.
Freaking Torterra just ripped through stuff.
Yeah, dude, and it didn't the first time though. It didn't the first time because I misunderstood the Elite Four and whatnot. But again, like, so me as a player. I come from like, I hate to be like that fucking boomer, but like, oh, when I was coming up, like it was fucking hard or whatever, but like,
okay, boomer.
Like it was though, like we didn't have these things. If I wanted
that's what's going to be in the intro.
If I want, right, okay, fucking boomer. But if I wanted that Dragonite, you know what I had to do? I had to fucking grind out that Dragonite.
Yeah.
I had to do that. Like,
cool.
And in this game, I hated that at first, but you know what? It gives you the freedom to not have to spend X amount of hours to get one thing when Nintendo respects your time and they want to give you the freedom to access other parts of the game, like the beauty contest thing. If you want to do that,
which is
like
super cool.
It's super cool.
Until I realized, like you can max out your Pokemon, like giving it Poffins to where it won't eat Poffins anymore.
Really? It's like I'm too full permanently.
You're not going to have a Pokemon that has a bow or a trophy in every category. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless you're really good, I guess.
Or spend a lot of time.
Like if you try to max out one of those stats, you're not maxing out anything else. It's not happening.
But I think that the experience share, to round it off, as much as some of you older veteran players like me would like to not like it, it does open up a lot of ways for newer players to enjoy the game and for you to enjoy the game in new ways that you didn't previously enjoy. And I should say, because of the way that I play these games running through the post game, it did punish me for doing that. It definitely punished me for trying to abuse the whole experience share thing. I was like, well, fuck it. I'm not going to sit here and grind my Pokemon out if it's going to experience everyone up. But when I got to the Elite Four, it was not as easy breezy as it could have been if I had actually stopped and fight everybody to play the game normally. Yeah. I ran through it, and I was mildly punished for that.
Cool. So let me say this. Let me talk about EXP share for a minute. Then we're going to talk about HMs. So EXP share. So if you're not clear, in the original games, EXP share, like we said, was an item that your Pokemon held. In order for you to train your Pokemon, you did a thing called switch training. That means the Pokemon you wanted to train had to be first in your list, so it was the first one to come out. Then you switched it into your strongest Pokemon and you just wrecked whatever. Well, in the original games, you couldn't rebattle trainers. The only trainers you could rebattle are the Elite Four. That was it. Those are the only trainers you could guaranteed rebattle every single time.
That's assuming you didn't beat them already.
Once you beat them, you just do the Elite Four again in the original games.
Can you? I'm sorry. You're right. And then your
only other option is wild Pokemon. That's it. Those are your only 2 options. Well, the Elite Four gives exponentially more experience than fighting wild Pokemon.
The level curve is stupid.
So how I remember training Pokemon is beating the Elite Four with like 5 overpowered Pokemon and like one Pokemon that's now level like 16. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, and that's how you did it. You switch trained all your Pokemon. And in the original games, you did that all the way up until the Elite Four. So all your Pokemon were the same level. So you could go into the Elite Four, you could fight them. They were all equal levels. My bad. And boom, cool. I don't know how much time you spend switch training to get those Pokemon up.
Depends on what Pokemon you had.
Exp Share only cut that amount of time in half, right? Because now one of your Pokemon that you're switch training is now getting double, but you still had to switch train everything.
I wasn't even doing that this time around.
No. So now the Exp Share, in my mind, where you're like, oh, maybe my Pokemon learn stuff. I was like, shoot, I didn't even think about that. The post game, the end game, the post game, I think is very much oriented towards the veteran gamers, right? Why do you play Pokemon? You play Pokemon to get the best Pokemon to fight your friends and maybe play online and catch all the Pokemon.
Yeah.
Who cares about the story? So Exp Share,
at this point, so
Exp Share is doing a couple things. One, it's saving you all the time that you would be wasting switch training all your Pokemon, right? So your entire team, by the end of the game, from the very beginning to the very end, I use the exact same team the entire time.
Same.
I got a couple Pokemon that I wanted. Boom.
What was your team, by the way? We haven't talked about our teams at all.
No, that's true. I had Empoleon, I had Rapidash, I had Gengar, I had Golem, I had Staraptor, and I had Luxray.
Cool.
Right? I didn't have a grass type, and that's why I struggled. But so anyway, by the end of the game, all of my Pokemon, because of the way the Exp Share worked, all my Pokemon were roughly the same level. So I was able to go into the Elite Four without all the extra switch training. And I feel like that's where the Exp Share kind of benefited me because it's just a lot of time. Otherwise, what would I do? I would be switch training, whatever. However, here's something I didn't think about just now as you were talking. When you beat the game and you go and you find that Gible, you have to switch train that Gible. If you want that Gible to be level 100 or level 60 or whatever, you're going to benefit solely by switch training that Gible and nothing else. All the other Pokemon don't matter. Your goal is Gible. He's training. That's the one you're training. Exp Share's, sure, he's going to get some experience from the Exp Share. I mean, maybe you can train up 5 new Pokemon simultaneously.
That's what I was going to say. Like, dude, my team grew pretty evenly.
But even then, dude, like, sure, they grow evenly. But I mean, like, if you're like, man, I really want Gible. I don't care about anything else right now. And that's how it was in the originals. You got one new Pokemon. You're like, I'm going to level him up till 60, 70, and then I'll get a new one. And if that's your mindset, you go in like, cool, I'm going to do Gible. Exp Share doesn't matter anymore. Like, you're literally having to do the exact same thing that you had to do way back in the day.
Okay, so I think to dissect a little bit with what you're saying.
Or you try to do 5 at a time, and that's just...
Well, that's what I would do, is I would just start... actually, I should say that's what my intentions are, because the team that I have to get through the game wasn't necessarily, like, my dream team.
Right, but I'm saying, like, if you wanted to level up Gible, you either level up Gible or you're leveling up, let's say, efficiency, right? Is it more efficient to take your strongest Pokemon and 5, let's say level 5 Pokemons, because you want to get them all to level 60? Is it more efficient to do those 5 and go into the Elite Four and just beat as many Pokemon as you can with your strongest Pokemon and bring them up to levels? I beat one battle and my Jirachi went from level 5 to level 10. I beat a second battle, my Jirachi went from 10 to level 12. I mean, like, and that's how it would be with all of them. Or is it just better to throw out Jirachi out, then switch, and then you have all your normal, and try to get through the entire Elite Four a million times? Like, that's what I did back in the day. Because otherwise you're whiting out, you're losing money if you need the money. And you're just, I don't know. I feel like my whole point, let me say this. My whole point is, like, by the end of the game, by the time you've beaten the champion, your end result is to catch all the Pokemon and train up your one team that you want. And by the time you're doing that, you're doing the exact same thing. The Exp Share doesn't matter. And you're catching all the Pokemon, which is what you want to do to begin with.
I think,
and you got there faster. That's the
that's
super important thing.
That's what I was
got
gonna
there
say.
way faster than before.
Yeah, ultimately, I don't. The thing was,
People may hate what I just said, but I like that's just what it is.
the thing that I have to come to terms with as one of these, like, I'll call myself like an asshole veteran player that's like, oh, I played things a certain way. Like,
can I make a comment? That was another thing that I kind of sidetracked myself. Another thing is, did the Exp Share make the game easier? Sure, I agree. The first half of the game, yes, it's easier.
It did, but that's okay.
Also, if you've ever played Pokemon in your life, you're going to know type advantages. You're going to know things that new players don't know. It's going to be easy no matter what. My buddy is playing Diamond and Pearl with an Infernape, and he freaking swept the water gym with his Infernape.
Yeah.
I mean, like, because he knows the type advantages, and he knows all these different things. And Infernape is overpowered.
Yeah, that's a whole nother...
But I mean,
there's
like,
certain things that...
But if you know the stuff, it's going to be easy. I don't care what game it is.
Yeah, if you're educated, then it's going to be easier. But the thing that I think I ultimately had to come to terms with was, if I want to play, you are more than welcome to go back and play those older games if you want a more difficult game, because
they're hard. I went back and played Red.
I can definitively say that those older games are more difficult because they're clunkier, because they're less fleshed out.
I would also argue the amount of time to level up stuff is ridiculously high. I don't know that it's hard. I don't think I would say that Pokemon Red's hard.
It's just time consuming. So that's the thing, and that's where I was leading difficulty. At. Ultimately, if we're being reasonable adults and like respecting Nintendo as individuals and not as a whole, like to look at them as a company and just point your finger at them and say a certain thing. Ultimately, I think on the positive, not on the negative side, I think that Nintendo respects my time. I think they respect me as a gamer, and they want to give me, the best possible value in a game that they can. And sometimes your idea of that isn't always correct. My idea of a perfect Pokemon game isn't correct because that's my opinion.
Right.
But Nintendo, I think, after a lot of talking with you off camera, I think I've come to the
conversation many times.
Right. I think I've come to the conclusion that I'm very happy with the game in terms of its accessibility to newer players, because ultimately, as a Pokemon fan, I want to talk about the game with other people. Like, I want to talk about the game with the younger generation, but like I want to hear their experiences. That, like, my little brother, he never got to play Blue when it first came out. Like, that's what I'm looking forward to. And when he's old enough to like really start dipping into Pokemon games, I'm excited to share Pokemon Brilliant Diamond with him, because I'm like, hey, I played this game. It's not going to be super difficult for you. There's going to be difficulty curves, because as a veteran player that just sprinted through the game, it was skipping all these trainers, I got punished like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
When I ran into a Lopunny at the... Well, actually, I shouldn't say I got punished by that character.
You got punished by Quagsire.
Okay, that's a better example. Is like I got super stumped by a Heracross, and I'm like, dude, why is a Heracross stopping me from getting into the champion right now?
Tell you what, some of those Pokemon combinations that those Elite Four uses in this generation, and I know it's the exact same it was way back when. This generation really makes you think, and it really pushes you. And if you don't know any of that going into it, it's going to punish you, and it's going to force you to learn. It's going to make you get good. That is what we say all the time. If you're not good, get good. That's the end of the episode. See you guys. No.
Right.
That'd be a crappy way to end.
But I think Nintendo did an excellent job at this remake in terms of rebalancing it for new players and old players.
And when you say Nintendo, we actually really mean the company that actually made the game.
Game Freak.
Like, Nintendo's like, hey, cool, make it. But and Game Freak is like, hey, here's the stuff.
But even like,
but it's really the company that actually made this remake.
And I feel bad that I don't know offhand. Like, maybe we'll throw them in the comments or something like that. But I don't know. I don't have... I don't know, Doc. I don't know about you, but I don't have too many more thoughts on this. I was really gung-ho about the experience share at one time.
I may have got up in front of you. I tried to like get off the camera to find it, but I couldn't find it.
I one time I had a pretty strong opinion about this game, and I still do, but it's in the positive direction that I'm super excited for new players to play this game.
Yeah.
Like specifically the younger generation. And when I say that, I'm talking 13 or younger. Because I think that this is
it's a great
super
Pokemon game.
solid fucking game for 13 or younger, because it's going to get them passionate about the game. It's going to get them into Pokemon, which is what I think this game is super good for. If not a solid follow-up to Pokemon Let's Go, because Shield was like,
Sword and Shield were good.
It was there was a lot of new stuff that they were trying to do with that. But if you're going to make a remake and try to adhere to a younger generation and more generalized audience, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, excellent start to the Pokemon generation or Pokemon series if you've never played.
So what's next? So we have Legends coming up in February, which is going to be a brand new Pokemon game.
That's right.
But then after Diamond and Pearl, what do we have? I think Black and White, was the next. So I would love to see what they do with a Black and White remakes.
That'd be really cool.
But we'll talk about that when we get there. One of the greatest things, we're going to say this and we're probably going to end, I think, right?
Probably, yeah.
One of the greatest things about this game, I think, is the Pokemon interaction. I know we barely touched on it, if at all. But you had these moments where, like, if your Pokemon really like enjoys you, loves you, likes you, whatever, like they would brush off Paralyzed, they would brush off freaking Burns, they would brush off Frozen, they would brush off
my
everything.
Floatzel.
Your Floatzel came in
fucking
clutch.
Goat. The absolute fucking goat. Like boats. I'm gonna get boats tattooed on me.
They would act like they had Sturdy 4 or 5 times in a row
for nothing,
for no reason. And while did it make it easy? Maybe.
I want to talk about this more.
No, we'll do that then. We're gonna extend this episode
right now.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
Well, we have to. We wasted time sitting here in silence. I was just gonna wrap it up and just be like, put a little bow on it. Pokemon interaction. We're extending the episode. Pokemon interaction. So the Pokemon is like what we said. If they like you, if they love you, if you've spent a ton of time with them, they will shake off Burns. They will shake off Frozen. They will shake off Paralysis. They will
have Sturdy,
essentially Sturdy.
But it comes off in it. So I think it's important to say that when you start playing, when you start to notice these things, by the way, you don't need to actually spend time with your Pokemon. This comes from either using your Pokemon a lot in battle, or it being at the front of your party, or maybe even with you walking around with it.
Yeah, most likely it's going to happen with your main Pokemon.
Yes.
Probably not the other ones, but the Pokemon you've used the most throughout the entirety of your game. If you just swap it for something else out of your box, this is not going to happen.
Yeah, if you don't use your Pokemon consistently enough, then they're not going to build enough of a bond with you. But let me tell you, now this is, if not, it's tough. After finishing the game, I started out thinking that the experience share was the most controversial thing. I think this might be the most controversial part, because, dude, I beat the game on this premise alone.
On a small chance
that the game introduced in this game.
And let me tell you what, it was amazing.
And that's the thing. It was so epic. It was so epic.
It was so great. Like, so what? Who cares?
So to tell you guys the story a little bit. So to give you a little backstory, me and Doc, we were playing this game together. We both got to the Elite Four. We were gonna like finish it together. We thought it'd be cool. So I brought my Switch over and we finished the freaking Elite Four together and whatnot. And I got down to Cynthia with the
which is a spoiler, by the way.
It's spoiler. Got down to Cynthia, the champion. Spoiler! If you guys haven't seen that episode, it may not even be out yet.
It may not be out yet, but that's hilarious.
But so we got down to Cynthia. I got to the champion, And I literally got all the way boiled down to my last Pokemon. My last mon. It was Floatzel, the fucking goat, dude. His name was Boats.
You still had other Pokemon.
That's right, because I was able to cheese it. I forgot about that.
But her Garchomp freaking double sword
Yeah,
stance.
it double sword dance,
And
so
just
it
gonna
was
low-kick the
one-shotting
crap out of you.
everything
It
at
was
that point.
killing everything.
Yeah, it was literally one-shotting everything. And I came down to, I had Floatzel. His name is Boats. Boats is the goats. And I was trying to Blizzard it. I was just trying to Blizzard it, and it like Dragon Clawed me, got me literally from 100% health all the way down to like 1 HP.
1 HP.
Dropped. It didn't have sturdy. No, because it held on.
Yeah.
That's why it held on.
Boats is like, because I love you, I will hold on and stay alive.
It literally pops up and says, Boats hung on so that you wouldn't feel sad.
Yeah.
That's what it says. And like, so when I say this, that it's an awesome feature and it changes the aspects of the game, I mean that for better and worse.
I can agree, I think, maybe.
Initially, because when I started seeing it, it was like, I don't even remember what it was saying. It was saying some kind of weird feature that it was
it was super weird.
It just came off in a weird way, as if I wasn't giving my Pokemon enough attention.
It started off with like, whatever, because it does. It's like progressive. It's like, oh, your Pokemon seems like he's drowsy, or like your Pokemon seems like he's not paying attention, or something. It was something weird like that. It sounded super negative.
It came off the same way as if
like
you had an over-leveled Pokemon in a previous generation, and I was like,
that's what I thought. That's what I thought it was originally. Like, I thought I actually got too many gym badges for the level of my Pokemon. Like, I thought it was
you mean your level
I didn't
was
have
too
enough.
high.
I thought I was too overpowered, and I didn't have enough gym badges when I first saw it.
So the first couple of times I thought my Torterra was disobeying me, and I was like, I was even getting frustrated because you get in motions with like Pokemon where you're just like kind of mashing A.
Yeah.
You're just pressing the A button a lot to get through it, and then you see that text and you're like, wait, did I miss? Like, but I just hit. Like, what's the problem?
Right, and you have your animations turned off. I actually play with the animations up to a certain point. Like, there are certain, like, every time I see a new move or I encounter a new Pokemon, I always want to see the moves.
Yeah.
Because the games have progressively gotten better in the animations on some things.
I had them on for most of the game.
Super cool. Yeah, most of the game. But eventually you get to a point where you're like, dude, I'm done.
I just want to play through the game. I just want to get through it quickly. You know what I mean?
But yeah, so you have these moments where your Pokemon seem like they're acting weird. And it starts off weird.
It starts off super weird, where it feels like you're like actually mistreating your Pokemon. And I was like, which I disagree with. I do think that Nintendo should go through and update some of those text logs.
I think I just need to go back and see what it was actually saying, because I don't remember what it was exactly, but it came across negative.
Yeah.
But it then switched.
But it wasn't.
But it wasn't. Like, it
seems
almost like the Pokemon was being playful.
I remember
in a
it.
way.
It seems like it was saying like it did this because it seems like it wants to be pet. That's what.
Yeah, like it got a critical hit, so it was excited and wants to be praised, or it wants more attention. Like, it was super weird.
It came off in a way like I wasn't giving it enough attention. It's like,
and I think it's because
motherfucker, you're not giving me options to give it attention.
Yeah,
like,
I think a lot of it seemed to be like stuff that we just weren't used to. But later games, you got like the Pokemon Corral and stuff, and you could pet your Pokemon.
Yeah.
But
by the end of the game, dude, I would actually venture to say that around the 5th or the 6th gym is when I started to see it on the positive spectrum, like where I wasn't questioning what it meant, because like a heart would pop up and I was like sometimes your Pokemon would literally perform a critical and it would pop up and say that it performed a critical simply because it wanted to make you happy. Like, it was like trying to please you. Like, it was trying to put in its effort for you. And it's like, you get into some of those, again, some of those fights aren't insanely hard.
Oh,
like,
I don't think any of them are.
They're not really hard. But dude, when you're in the Elite Four and you're like me and Doc were sitting, I wish I would have recorded us sitting there, because it was super funny. But like, we're in this like last fight with Cynthia, and like I said earlier, like I had maybe like 2 Pokemon left. It was me and Floatzel, and Floatzel's probably my favorite Pokemon in that generation after playing. He's so fucking cool, and I named him Boats. I loved him so much, and it was like I was riding on. I was like, all right, boats. Like I already.
It was literally like this is
it.
If you didn't win right now,
It was
you're
nothing.
going to have to start over.
Yeah.
And that's what it came down to. You're like, this is how important it is.
Yes. And it just like, for people like me that really love the statistical side of games and like the number crunching.
It doesn't even matter. It throws that out of the window.
Yeah, it throws that all completely out the window. But the thing is, like, to determine my level of enjoyment in the game versus my engagement in the game, like, if it was strictly like an old style Pokemon game where it was nothing but numbers, they didn't hit me with any of the emotional side, they didn't try to make me feel connected to my Pokemon, I would have had a good time. I would have had a great time.
You would have had a great time losing and having to do it all over.
I would have done it over again, but I would have been enjoyable. You know what I mean?
I would not have.
I would have enjoyed it because that's what I expect from a Pokemon game, similar to Dark Souls.
I think,
I'm expecting the difficulty.
And that's what changes between you and me. Because I think if I was in the exact same situation that I saw you in, I would have. That's one of those like throw the controller across the room. I can't believe that he double swords dance and then sweeps my whole team.
Crazy.
And I have to start over the Elite Four again, which I had already struggled to get through. Right? Like it's already a struggle, and now I have to do it again. But in this moment, it changed my perception of how they can take a format that they've had for years and years, and they can still add something a little special to it that makes you feel still super engaged. Because
way more engaged. That ultimately finishing that game today, today
before we
changed the way that I felt about Pokemon, because I can't remember the last time that I was like, let's fucking go! Let's go! Like,
dude,
you know what I'm saying? Like, so
and
hyped.
I was watching while you were playing. We were both screaming.
Yes,
just
dude.
The first time Floatzel survived, let alone it just taking the second earthquake.
The second one.
With 1 HP.
It literally was like, nah, Ice Beam, or Blizzard.
Floatzel's
finished it.
No, I'm good. We'll still go. And we're just screaming, man.
And now
so
I'm never going to
crazy.
forget that, dude. Like, Floatzel, because of that one moment, is probably one of my favorite Pokemon now. Because, I have this memory of Floatzel, putting his neck out for me, because the game gave me that experience. It popped up and said, boats, the nickname I gave it, it was said, boats held out for you to make you happy, or I'm literally getting choked up again on this fucking stream.
It was so good. And let's put it in another perspective, right? So this is the way the main game makes you feel, right? So you're just like, boom, you've invested time in your Pokemon to beat this game, and it makes you feel like your Pokemon actually appreciated and cared about you and all this stuff, to the point to where, I mean, it was a most epic of epic. It wasn't like, cool, I won, or oh man, I lost, now I have to do it all over again.
Dude, I got there with my team.
Epic battle, and it came down to a couple just exchanges, absolutely ridiculous. It was the best. And for those of you who are like, yeah, that's just how they made the game easy. I didn't experience what you experienced. It's completely random.
It was not. I was in the Elite Four for what? Not talking about when I died and had to restart.
Yeah, but I mean,
I was in that one Elite from the start to finish. It's probably an hour and a half, right?
Oh, it was a minute. I mean, it would have been a lot of time you would have lost if you lost. But for this saying it's easy, it wasn't easy. And maybe it comes across that way. Oh, well, they're just coddling and they're just allowing you to win. I didn't have that. It was super hard. It was difficult for me. And my Pokemon were higher level than yours. And maybe I had instances where sometimes one of my Pokemon would survive.
Miss or
I experienced that with my main lead Pokemon, sure. But for those who are whatever, it's really about all the battles. They just made the game easy. It's not like that if you battle your buddy. If you and I just start our battle Pokemon, we won't see that.
Yeah, with
it's
PvP,
not a PvP
it's out the window. That's just a story.
It's just the game, and making you appreciate the game and enjoy the game, and gives you a crazy epic ending. Cool.
I'll never forget this game.
I expect you to beat the champion. You expect me to beat the champion. I expect anyone else to play the game and beat the champion. But how did you beat the champion? Oh, well, I used the best 6 Pokemon in the game.
No,
Okay,
I
so-
have a story like,
yeah,
dude, me and
but now
fucking
it's
Boats
completely-
went down to the last hair of it. Like,
yeah, now you can be like, this is how my battle went. Right? And you can explain all these things. And freaking Garchomp threw out an earthquake and Boat said, nope. And freaking hit a blizzard. And Garchomp's like, no. And then you're like, boom, I'm champion.
yeah, dude. There's a whole story to it because
it's so cool.
you have these you watch the show, right? And you see Ash with Pikachu doing these crazy things. And now as a Pokemon trainer, I can't fucking believe that I just called myself a Pokemon trainer.
I am the Pokemon trainer.
But as a Pokemon trainer, I now have this very real experience with my Floatzel now that I can remember. You know what I mean?
And you'll never forget it.
And I'll never forget it. And it really,
And I was there and I watched it. I witnessed it. I'm a witness.
you are a witness. And it's just
Doc, did all those things happen? No.
Prick. It's just, I'm a super emotional person, so I need a very strong emotional connection to something, and I haven't had that for a very long time with Pokemon. But now I'm actually even as I was playing the game, for this podcast and stuff, I knew we were gonna podcast it. I was like, I love Pokemon, I'll do it, whatever. But it wasn't until today, in that fight, where Boats was like, no, not fucking today, sir. We're fucking this Garchomp up.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, bro, now I gotta go home and level my Boats up.
Yeah,
I want to go
it's
home
so
and spend some time with Boats. You know what I mean?
So good. So good.
Such a really strong, good memory, and especially to bring it full circle, Nintendo or Game Freak, whoever, is trying to appeal to a general crowd. And I don't think there's any problem for them to want to do that, to further expand and give this same feeling that I got today to more people or to a younger generation, because the younger generation right now might be overexposed to too many different video games or certain things. But I owe Nintendo a lot of gratitude for the things that they gave me in my childhood, and they're doing their best to offer those same experiences to the younger generation now, even though it's not the same.
And I think
I applaud them and respect them 200% for trying to do what they can.
I feel like if you were to give Pokemon Red or Pokemon Blue or Pokemon Yellow to a kid today, I don't think they would appreciate it and I don't even know that we appreciate it because we grew up with it. That's all we had.
Because that's what we had. We had to be happy with it. But
and now we're looking at
it
things
now,
that we don't like. But I'm currently playing Pokemon Red. It is not great. Sure, it's nostalgic.
It's
and
nostalgic,
sure, it's fun.
but you have to be.
But
this is a big
that's
topic.
That's why people are playing Nuzlocke.
Yeah.
You can't even play the game the same way because you know it's not hard. You have to make it artificially hard by adding some arbitrary thing that doesn't actually exist in Pokemon.
That's factual.
You cannot play the game and enjoy it because you know it's not difficult.
Whether that be from an actual hard difficulty stance, to say definitively whether this game is hard or it's not hard, or because we've been playing the game for so long that we're just talented, we're skilled. You know what I mean?
We know.
We're smart,
I mean, there are decades of knowledge.
Dude, I know more about Pokemon than I probably know my job. That makes me money. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, give Red and Blue to a kid today, and they're not going to like it.
They probably wouldn't enjoy it. You know what I mean?
You're they're well, I want all my Pokemon. But cool, you got to go catch them all. That's cool. Okay. How do I level up all of them without having to keep constantly switching them out? Because it takes forever. It takes so long. Be oh no, that's what you have to do.
There's two different ways, because
that's just what you have to do. Well, no, this is stupid.
I feel like it's different ways of appreciating things in life. You have almost the boomer aspect where you're I worked for it, I grinded for it, I grinded my face off for it, and I hated it.
My buddy, My buddy got his Charizard to level 100 without leaving Pallet Town.
It's stupid as fuck.
But he did it.
It's so dumb, dude.
This is his only Pokemon. Got it to like level 100
God.
without just right in that patch of grass.
Yeah.
Do you know how much experience those Pokemon give you?
Like 90
when you're like,
or 18 sometimes, like 18 experience.
sure. Do you know how much that matters when you're like above level 10?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Nothing.
It doesn't matter.
I gave Jirachi, like today, Jirachi got 1100 experience, 1100, and went from level 10 to level 12. And he got to level 100 as a Charizard.
Silly.
His Charizard didn't even care. Didn't even listen to him because he didn't have badges.
Right.
Like, you realize how crazy that is? But no, like, it's so... This game was good.
Ultimately,
so good.
I thought it was super epic. I think some of the features that they added in it are going to be controversial, but hey, you have to,
couple.
as much as you are, if you guys aren't like familiar with this podcast or like my personal opinions on Nintendo or I guess gaming in general, you're going to find very quickly that I've got some pretty spicy opinions. So when I feel a certain way about something, I'm going to let you guys know. But
and I'll be here to cool them down.
To cool me down, of course, on the opposition. But if I'm being honest, I think Nintendo fucking killed this game. I think they did an awesome job, and I love it. I love the friendliness feature. Like, I care a lot about my Pokemon.
And we're not even talking about post game.
Not even post game. This is just during.
So much. Like, once you beat the game, once you get the national decks, everything, like tons of stuff unlocks. You start seeing Pokemon swarms in the wild. You have a whole island you can go to catch legendary Pokemon. The Pokemon Underground opens up and you can start catching all kinds of Pokemon, and all kinds of stuff happens.
Yeah, tons of stuff.
And it's just so much content at the end of the game for veterans like us who want to go in and say, hey, I want to catch every Pokemon in this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get to a point where you actually like crack it wide open and you're like, holy fuck. Like,
you can get all generation. Here's something that doesn't happen often. Normally when you play a Pokemon game, you can't get starters. Right? You get the one starter, that's it. Nope, you can. Once you get the national decks, you can get all generation. First 4 generation starters in the game.
Is that true?
Mm-hmm. But you gotta go find them, son. Like, all the underground stuff. Like, there's so much crap that unlocks in this game. After you get the national decks, it's absolutely ridiculous.
That's crazy. I didn't know any of that.
It's wild. It's so wild. And that's why I'm probably going to keep playing Pokemon.
Yeah. I don't know that...
Not that I don't really care, but it's super cool.
I don't know that I'm going to put a ton of more time into Pokemon just because, like, as a streamer, as a content creator, as a business owner, like with the tattoo stuff and whatnot, I've just got I don't have a ton of time to dump into those kinds of games anymore. Like, once I finish something, I kind of move on to the next project or whatever to experience something new. But this Pokemon game in particular, I think has a lot of life to it. I think I'm going to find myself going back to this game, where I would have oftentimes left other games in the dirt.
Yeah, it's a good Pokemon because the next Pokemon we're getting is Legends. The last Pokemon we got was Sword and Shield, which is doing really well. It's doing really well currently. And before that, it was what? It was Let's Go. Mm-hmm. And then before that, it was on the 3DS, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Like, this is probably one of the best Pokemon games we have had in a long time. It's a solid
definitively
game.
And again, we only touched the surface on some of the things that you guys can delve into in the game. Like I said, I've got a certain way that I play like certain games. Doc has his way of playing certain games. You guys have your way of playing games. We didn't even nearly dive into all the different things that you can get into this game, like the beauty contests, like
I just mentioned the underground. We didn't even talk about that.
Underground. There's so much that we can't, cram into an entire episode. So if you haven't picked it up already, definitely go and pick it up from freaking GameStop or
find a buddy to borrow.
Just borrow a game from somebody, you know what I mean? Just check it out for a little bit. Even if you play the initial, main story and you pick it up for yourself later on to get that post game in, it would be it's definitely an awesome pickup. Or maybe for the holiday season or something, ask mom for a Pokemon game.
Ooh, yeah.
It's a good time to ask mom for a Pokemon game.
All right, cool. So that sounds like that's it for this episode. But we got a couple announcements right here at the end.
That's right.
Because we got to say what's coming up right now this week.
This week,
and when we say this week, we mean this is today that you're hearing. This is Monday,
the 20th.
The 20th. We are December 20th, 5 days away from Christmas.
That's right. So Merry Christmas to you guys. Happy holidays to everyone. But we do have a very special, exciting Christmas stream coming up this Thursday?
The 23rd.
That's right.
3 days from now.
23rd, Thursday. We're doing a
Tuesday, Wednesday,
Monday,
Tuesday,
Wednesday.
Thursday. Yep, Thursday.
Yep.
23rd.
So we are doing I'm hosting it, but basically
I'll be there.
There was reasons why we didn't do Scrub Hub stuff, but we are doing a Pants Party Christmas on my stream. We're doing freaking raffles. We're gonna be watching the Grinch. We're gonna be watching the Grinch on stream. And Doc and I might even be freaking dressed up.
Maybe.
Who knows? There's a ton of stuff that going on in that day, so you can I'll plug myself at the end of the episode, but you can find that on my stream or whatever. But we will also be doing a Scrub Hub live episode during that day, which is going to get uploaded.
Yeah, so you're going to see a Scrub Hub live this week and here in a few days, and then that will also be uploaded. If you don't catch us live, you will find that next week here
right
on
after
the channel.
Christmas. That's right.
Right after Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And then so what else we have to announce? Our next Scrub Hub game to play. So from the time you're hearing this, in 2 weeks from today, we will be covering Eternal Darkness.
That's right. On the GameCube.
Sanity's Requiem, I think, is what the subtitle is. It is a GameCube game, and we will be playing that game starting right now when you're hearing this, probably, up until I think we decided, we think Chapter 6, completing Chapter 6. There are 12 chapters in the game.
Is there definitively 12 chapters like it tells you?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Based on what I was looking, so neither of us have played this game, but we believe there's 12 chapters. I'm pretty sure. We're going to try to play through Chapter 6. So we complete and there is a Chapter 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 completed. And we will talk in 2 weeks from today about Eternal Darkness. So if you're here and you're listening and you have access to that game, be it you own it or some other means, maybe you can borrow it or something else that is legal, please join us as we play that, get to that far, and then you can listen to that podcast and then give us your thoughts and things like that.
That's right.
And if something changes and we don't play that far in the game, we will let you know.
Yeah.
But that's kind of our best. We've never played the game, so I don't know what to expect.
Right. We can really only give our best estimations in terms of playing a game up to a certain point to allow you guys the access and freedom to play that game along with us.
And we don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, no, we don't want to spoil anything.
Slight plug to our spoilers episode.
That's right. If that has not come out already, look out for it. Talking about spoilers in general in terms of movies, freaking comics,
because
video
this is
games.
the only way you're going to know about it. We're not going to announce it.
Nope.
Except
it's
for now.
Just going to come out. But you can't expect that Eternal Darkness episode on January 3rd. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not picked up that game, make sure that you find it at your nearest video game store, your nearest collectible friend, like Doc himself here.
eBay. I mean, it came out on the GameCube, so you're not.
eBay.
You're like your nearest video game store. I'm like, I don't know that you're just gonna walk into a store and see it on the shelf, but you might. It's possible.
Depends on where you're going.
But all right, let's end this episode. Doc, I'm Doc.
I'm Doc.
You're Doc now.
Hey, my name's RX_Bishop_MD. You can find me at Twitch, RX.
And my name is NevrEndingPants without the second E in never. And you can find me on Twitch and Instagram and YouTube. And I think that's it. I think that's it. Yeah, we just plug each other.
Dude, we should do that on like every other episode where we're your Pants and I'm Doc.
that'd be funny.
Confuse everyone for like 2 weeks.
That's it.
It's
And
too
so,
funny.
of course, we always have our tip of the day, which is if you're not good, get good.
Thank you guys for tuning in on this episode of Scrub Hub, and we will see you on the next episode. Peace!